Good afternoon, this is the Eagletail Wilderness area, and I'm going to stop and talk about an anime, Some Days Dreamer. Some Days Dreamer is a contemporary fantasy story released by Pioneer Genian in North America, back in the days when they still did releases in North America. It's a contemporary coming-of-age story, and I think its target audience is probably preteen girls. I think it's safe to assume that I'm not part of that target audience, but hey, the adults can watch along with the kids. It's better than watching High School Musical over again. In the world of Some Days Dreamer, magic, called special powers, is real. Mages are organized into guilds which provide for training. They're also monitored, licensed, and strictly regulated, and probably taxed too, but economics isn't the subject at hand. Yume Kikuchi is a high school girl. The story says she's 17. She seems to play a year or two younger than that. She's left her small town roots to come to Tokyo to become a mage apprentice and use her special powers to help people. She's sweet and kind and very obedient, except when she's not obeying. In Tokyo, Yume is assigned to Mr. Oyamato, who's a mage who's trained apprentices before. He lives in a loft over a salsa bar.
The training video made me realize I broke so many rules. Oh, I'll never do that again.
Experience is the most powerful teacher. If we regret our actions, we won't forget the lesson. Don't ever be afraid to make mistakes.
Right.
Well, the man lives in a loft, so we know he must be a real bohemian. By the way, that bar is run by an affable fellow with the traditional Japanese name of Mr. Smiley, and it's strictly off limits to underage Yume. Early on, Yume is going to become friends with another mage trainee, Angela. She's British, but she's living in Tokyo as an apprentice to another mage there. Angela will often drop in on Oyamato when her own teacher is out of town on guild business, so she and Yume will often be partners as well as friends. During her apprenticeship, Yume will also learn the guild regulations. Those regulations include the stipulation that mages can't perform any mage actions without a specific request from a client and prior authorization from the guild. Yume will learn this rule, but she's so eager to help people she won't always obey it. Along the way, in addition to magic, Yume's going to learn a lot about growing up, such as that special powers can't solve every problem. Within each of the 12 episodes, Yume takes a step closer to her goals. Beyond the introductory episodes, the stories can pretty much each stand on their own. Each episode concentrates on some specific client who needs something done through special powers. And there are several episodes devoted to members of the supporting cast, such as Angela or Mr. Smiley. These stories are gentle, slow-paced, sentimental, and strictly G-rated. It takes joy in the smell of pizza, or just repairing a cracked window, or granting an old pensioner a simple, sentimental mage action. There's no hint of crime by magic in this world, and the worst act of disobedience is performing a mage action without filling out the proper paperwork beforehand. The official punishment for that, by the way, is being grounded for a week. Each mage uses special powers with a personal avatar imprinted in their guild-issued magical ring. It's sort of a trademark. Yume's avatar is a dolphin, which she uses to perform her magic. If you're expecting lightning bolts or other violence from the magic in this series, you're going to be badly disappointed.
Now, both of you, please begin the mage action.
Yes, yes. With all my precious feelings in my heart.
Yume is a likable character, friendly and eager to please. In fact, she's almost too perfect. Her only fault seems to be that she tries too hard to help others. She could use a little edge, especially as dubbed in English. She also could use a little more enthusiasm. Angela, despite the traditional British reserve, seems to be the more fiery of the two. Even Oyamato eventually gets some character development beyond the patient, dedicated teacher stereotype. There are also some recurring roles for supporting casts, such as a boy Yume first meets when she first arrives in the big city of Tokyo and looks totally lost wandering the streets. And there's a little girl who's a family friend of Oyamata. Pioneer's dub is a bit on the stilted side, but it's serviceable enough, and the young target audience will probably prefer to use it, since the younger set doesn't particularly care for reading their cartoons. It's a nice touch that Yume has a country accent that only surfaces when she gets excited or when she talks with people from her hometown. On the other hand, Angela's British and the dub really can't distinguish between when people are talking English as English and when people are talking English as Japanese. A couple of the scenes lose their humor if you can't tell that Yume is trying to talk to Angela in English. This series isn't likely to entertain fans of Akira or Gantz or Hellsing. It's more for the Totoro or Kiki crowd. Within that context, I would go ahead and give it 3 stars. It's a perfectly good story for tweens, and they might prefer something a little more energetic from Miyazaki or Pixar. You can go ahead and watch it with the grandkids. They already think you're weird. Thanks for listening.